to start the fill handle and nested if functions assignment, you need to go ahead and open the draft, which you can find on my website, and it will look like this, what you see on the screen when you open it. So the very first thing that you need to do is activate the fill screen. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and it tells us on the third line that we need to use the fill handle and, where necessary, one column at a time. So we're going to start with column A and move our way over to L. We need to go ahead and propagate the columns A through N down to row 14. So we're going to extend down to row 14. Let you guys play around with fills and series that Excel will do. So what we'll do here is we're going to go ahead and highlight the 730, 830 and drag it down to 14. And you can see that it goes ahead and continues on the time. Same here. Now, what I did is I only took Saturday and I copied it down and it automatically updated. So if I do 2 Saturdays in a row, then it'll see that that's what I want to try to keep. Monday, Wednesday has a gap of 2 days, so it goes ahead and makes up that gap. We'll show a month. Again, a month, each month abbreviated. And as you're doing this, you just want to check to make sure that the numbers are following up the way that they should. The series is filling in the way that it should. You'll notice I have hashtags, so I'm going to go up here on the line between I and J, and I'll do a double arrow. When I get to the split double arrow, I'm just going to double left click. So click, click, and it automatically fits it to that number, or to the widest. It fits the column to the widest part. Now we run into problems when we try to copy column in. It misunderstands and just repeats. So we're going to go ahead and just type in. Oops. All right, now what tells us that we need to select cell D20. So we're going to select D20 and E20, and then we're going to autofill out. Then we want to select D20 and C20. Let me do that again. Select D20 and C20, do your autofill, and then left drag over to 2 cells, and it extends. Go ahead and select D20 and D19, and then autofill up. And D20 and D21 and autofill down. Now select H20, and we want to point to the cell border so that the pointer changes to the plus sign with 4 arrows, and then drag the pointer down to cell H22 so that we can move the contents. So what we'll do is when it looks like that, click and drag down to H22. And we will move the content. So now we want to select cell H22. It already is selected. And now this time we're going to go ahead and do that 4-arrowed plus sign. We're going to click so that we've got the arrow, and we're going to press the Control key on the bottom left of your keyboard, and we're going to drag over to K22. And this time, what it should have done was it should have, so let's try this again. it should have moved it. So we're going to go ahead and press down and hit the control. You'll see there's a little tiny plus, and then move over to H22, and now it's copied it. So if you want to move it, you just click like that, and then you can drag it around. If you want to copy it, you can click like that, hold the control key, and then move it. All right, so now we're going to select K20, and what we want to do is take the autofill, and we're actually going to drag it in. See how it kind of bolded, and we need to do it a little bit further. Oops. Drag it in, and it deletes the cell. So if you just drag that autofill in, it will delete what's inside the cell. All right, so let's select the cell range H2 through I14. H2 through I14. And we're going to insert a 3D column chart on a new sheet, and we're going to title it Column Chart. So let's go to Insert. Let's see, yep, Column Chart, 3D. And we will move chart to a new sheet, and we will call it Column Chart, because we're super creative. And there it is. Let's change the chart title to Yearly Breakdown. We're going to add a data table with no legend keys. So data table, no legend keys. And then the last thing we have to do is we have to move the column chart so it's right in between the fill and the if. So we click and drag until that little tiny arrow is there, and now you see you have fill, column chart, and then the if sheet. So let's go to our if sheet, and it says that we need to write an if function in cell C2 that assigns a grade of pass if the score in B2 is 50 or above, and a grade of fail if it's below 50. So what we want to do is we will go ahead and do an equal sign and say if, and the logical test is if B2 is, let's make sure, 50 or above, no, they pass. So we want to say if B2 is equal to or greater than 50, if that's true, then we want them to pass, so we put that in quotation marks. And if it's false, we want them to fail. And then we end with a parentheses, and we hit enter. So let's double check. And there was an error message that popped up, and what I did, let me show you what it changed. I had put, instead of having greater than or equal to, I put equal to greater than. And so when I did that, that error message popped up. So do you want to accept the correction because they found a typo in the formula and tried to correct it? Yes, I'll accept it. And you'll notice what happened is that this person passed. So if we want to go ahead and copy that down with autofill, let's see if it works. So let's just randomly look at it. So when we look at it, we see that it does in fact work. Now we have to do a nested if function in D2. So let's go ahead and highlight D2. And we need to assign a grade of A for scores 80 to 100, B for scores 65 to 79, C for scores 50 to 64, and F for anything below 50. So if you can, our hint is to go from lowest to highest, and then we've got a formula that shows how you do it below. So pause now and read through that and make sure that you understand how to do a nested if function, because they can get confusing. All right, so let's go ahead and do our nested if function. We're going to start with an equal sign, and we're going to do if. So we want to say if B2 is less than 50, because we're starting at the bottom. So if anything's below 50, it's an F. So if B2 is less than 50, make sure I haven't made any mistakes. There we go. Then if that's true, we're going to give them an F. Oops. But if it's false, we have another if function. If B2 is less than or equal to 64, and I may have that turned around, so we'll see what happens. 64, then if that's true, they get a C. And if it's false, we have another if function. If B2 is less than or equal to 79, they will get a B. And if it's false, they will get an A. Now you'll notice I had to put 3 parentheses at the end because I started 1 parentheses, never ended, started 2, never ended, started 3, never ended, so now I have to finish all 3 parentheses. So let's see what happens. Let's copy it, it worked. And see, so a 68 would be a B. 24 would be an F, 82 would be an A. Anything above 79 would be qualified as an A. So go ahead and save this and prepare it to be for grading.